Hey everybody, my name is Marcus, and these are my comic books for the week, so I'm going to talk a little bit about them, just like I did last week. I'm going to start with Dark X-Men. Well, it sucked, so... Anyway, moving along, I wasn't really that into Dark X-Men. I didn't like how they had, like, 3 different storylines going on, and this was the 3rd issue. I could tell that they kind of did the thing where they have 3 storylines, and instead of just telling one in one book, the second one in the second book, and the third one in the third book, they did the annoying thing where they split the entire issue into 3 different storylines so they can stretch you out, so you have to buy all 3 issues to get one little plot arc, and I wasn't into it. Let's move on to a good comic. This is Ultimate Spider-Man number 2. I guess I should say Ultimate Comics Spider-Man. I don't know if Marvel was trying to cause less confusion with their whole rebranding of the Ultimate line, but I don't know if it's really working. This trippy, ridiculous kaleidoscope cover probably doesn't help the confusion either. The Ultimate Universe just had their whole thing with Ultimatum, a whole bunch of people died, blah blah blah. I didn't really follow it. They kind of used that to launch off a reboot of all of the Ultimate titles. So this is Ultimate Spider-Man number 2. I noticed that a lot of people scoff when I mention the Ultimate line to them. I guess it's because sometimes people just get confused by alternate versions of characters. But really, even though Ultimate Spider-Man is a reimagining of the character, this comic really is meant for hardcore Spider-Man fans. They kind of revisit a lot of things that are kind of dead and gone in the Spider-Man mythos. Like, you get to see Flash Thompson being an annoying school bully again, and Gwen Stacy is, not dead. The other thing that I kind of always find off-putting about Spider-Man is he looks like a little baby Spider-Man in the Ultimate line. That's because he's something like a 16-year-old kid. So, it's a reboot of... Not a reboot, it's a reimagining of Spider-Man in an alternate universe. And Spider-Man's a little kid. Another good thing about this issue is that Mysterio shows up, Ultimate Mysterio. We don't really know a lot about him, other than the fact that he just showed up in the last issue and just murdered the Kingpin, which is good, because anyone who kills the Kingpin is a friend of mine. Okay, Savage Dragon. Now, Savage Dragon is a comic book series that I haven't really been following for a long time, so I don't really know a lot about it. A good friend of mine is very much into it, very much into Eric Larson. I mean, this cover is fantastic, though. I mean, how could you not buy that? Someone showed up in the Overlord armor last issue and just killed the dragon. Of course, the dragon has the ability to regenerate. He can switch bodies, so there's all this kind of like confusion as to what his fate's going to be, and that's what's going on in the storyline right now. And Eric Larson's art it's kind of old school and cartoony, but he draws action really well. The one thing I have to say is that's kind of funny about this comic is he draws everyone like they just got punched in the mouth. Like look at her lips. Like, she's like collagen central. I mean, that's Dart. She looks like she's just got Chris Brown right in the face. I mean, look at her lips. But anyway, this is a great comic. You should definitely pick it up if you're a fan of Savage Dragon. Moving right along. Okay. Now, it pains me to review this Deadpool comic this week. Now, I probably mentioned last week that Deadpool is my favorite comic. Deadpool has been consistently well written since the whole Secret Invasion thing ended and they relaunched this Deadpool comic. I've been following it. It's been consistently awesome, consistently hilarious, full of pop culture references, and just Deadpool's regular kind of insanity / brutality. But this issue was such a huge letdown. It is, I mean, if this was a movie, it would be the 3rd Matrix. Yeah, it's that bad. I mean, first of all, the jokes just flatline. And Deadpool is usually consistently hilarious all the way through. And, I mean, the artwork, I mean, if you look at this panel, does this look like a comedy, like a comedy comic to you? I mean, what is this, like the Grapes of Wrath? I mean, Deadpool's monologue is like, it is almost like serious and brooding for the whole comic. And then when Deadpool, usually has his like visions because he's insane. It's usually something funny, like he'll see somebody as some wacky character from something, or as like one of the Three Little Pigs or something stupid. And it's usually something funny like that. But here, Deadpool sees himself and Death sitting at a dinner, and then the dialogue, which is that's where the writer's supposed to come in and be funny, right there when Deadpool's having his vision. But instead, what we get is dinner's ready, gorgeous. Hope you like sushi. And then Death says sushi actually means with rice. And Deadpool says it does. And then Death says I think so. At least that's what I read on the menu of the teppanyaki place in San Francisco that I used to go to called Taco Maki. I used to go there too. Wait a minute. Ah, crap. You're not real. And then Death says, no, Wade. Not to you. Who wrote this? Who wrote this comic? This was a terrible comic. The topper to all of this is, if you look at this cover, does anything seem out of place to you? Now, another one of my pet peeves with comics is when they reuse art from other artists. It's just the laziest thing that you can do in comic book production. And this image right here on the TV is very obviously not drawn by the same person who did this. Somewhat realistic, goofy, stylized, cartoony. And if I had to make a bet, I would say that the person who drew it is the person who drew Marvel 1985, Tommy Lee Edwards. And he probably had a panel of some X-Men, and there was some unused artwork, and they decided to put it on a Deadpool cover. So that right there is the cherry on top of the steaming pile of horse crap. That was Deadpool this week. So much for that. So that's the Thursday comic book hangover. If you like my videos, subscribe and leave a comment. If you think I'm crazy and that issue of Deadpool was awesome, God knows why you would think that. Leave a comment, tell me so, video response, Twitter, carrier pigeon. Damn, this is a long video.